the surface, Apple is making a very compelling case to consider Snow Leopard Server for your business. They did something really remarkable. They will make a version of Snow Leopard Server with unlimited user access available in September for $499, and that's pretty amazing. And consider what they're throwing in as part of the deal. There's iCal server, there is address book server, and a mail server, which the three together would be roughly Apple's answer to Exchange server. There is a podcast producer for making and managing podcasts, a wiki server, which is Apple's version of SharePoint server, mobile access server, which my understanding would be the equivalent of remote web workplace with Microsoft Small Business Server. Spotlight searching, which Spotlight, by the way, is a fabulous search tool. It really is the gold standard in searching, desktop searching, as far as I'm considered. There's a web server, something like IIS server, is Apache. iChat server, which the Microsoft equivalent would probably be like Office Live, plus your basic file sharing, printer sharing, as well as the Apple equivalent of Active Directory. So all that for $499, unlimited users. So that is very, very cool. It runs on the Intel Core 2 Duo processors, the Xenon chips. It's a full 64-bit OS, and it looks to be pretty easy to set up and administer. There's actually a couple modes, like a real basic mode, and then a more advanced version. You can make it the equivalent of a Windows domain controller, or you can add it as a member server. Remember, it runs on Macs only. There might be a hack out there to make it run on a Windows or on an ordinary PC, but we're not going to go into that. I have talked to people who set up the OS X Leopard server. And initially, when it was released, they said it was pretty buggy, and some of them actually had to go back to OS 10.4 server until the bugs got worked out of it. I did some basic math. I think the equivalent of Microsoft product, especially in that small network space, that gives you the most oomph for the money would be Small Business Server 2008 Standard Edition. That's MSRP's right around the $1,089. And the client access licenses are $77 a piece. So a 25 user network running Small Business Server 2008, just the software alone is going to run you about $2,700. If you do the same thing with Snow Leopard Server, you're still $499. And where it gets really dicey is when you go up to the cap at Small Business Server of 75 users, you're at almost $6,500 just in licensing fees for a Small Business Server and the 70 additional cows that you need to purchase. So the real question is, do you save money? Is this really a good idea? Well, you can make an argument. You could also get a Linux server for free. Why even pay the $499? Well, to me, of course, the Linux server is not going to be as easy probably to set up and administer for a lot of people. And the Apple has a lot of polish to their stuff, and they've taken 1,000 or more projects, open source projects, and made them really easy to use, and did that a wonderful Apple interface to them. Makes a lot of the server stuff point and click really easy to do. Now, that being said, if your business is relying on Windows applications, live, breathe, and die, and you need heavy duty apps like Exchange Server and Outlook and all this sort of thing, then definitely Windows Small Business Server is probably going to be the better value. But if you look at the long haul, there's several different ways you can go about this. And I looked at about 3 different scenarios. And the first scenario is you have an Apple Snow Leopard server, and you're connecting Windows PCs to it. In that particular scenario, you're going to have not really the ability to take advantage of some of the Apple technologies like iChat server, excuse me, as much, the iCal server and all that sort of thing. And I've been kind of looking around for programs, open source, whatever, that might work with it, and I haven't really found a lot to work with, okay, in the Windows world. Some stuff in the Linux world, but not so much in the Windows world. But it can be done, especially if your needs are just your basic file print sharing, you know, email, that sort of thing. Then the Snow Leopard server may very well suit you quite nicely. Now, the second scenario I looked at was replacing Windows PCs with Macs. You know, you can get an iMac for around $600 to $800, depending on how you configure it. iMac started at about $1,200. Then you have a pure Apple network, and everything should be just hunky-dory there, I guess. But then, you, of course, if this rules out that you need to run very specific high-end Microsoft applications or Windows applications. Now, what you can do, of course, there's there's actually three. There's VMware Fusion. I know there's Parallels, which you pay for both of those. There's a new product called VirtuBox out there that you can download and install. You can run Windows on all three of those in a virtual machine on your Mac. So you could theoretically be in Windows or a Mac most of the time, and then if you have specific Windows applications, you run them in a virtual machine. So that is another avenue to explore. It might ultimately be cheaper for you over the long haul to do it that way. One other possibility, I talked to Apple and their enterprise side. From what I understand, is theoretically possible to, you could get Snow Leopard server on like a Mac Pro, really loaded up with RAM, the dual Xenon, all that sort of thing, the 8-core, the dual quad-core machine. Set up a virtual machine running, say, Windows Server 2003, 2008, 64-bit. You could actually use one of those machines as for like a Windows Active Directory. Have another VM maybe running Exchange Server 2007, 2003, and then in turn run, you know, Macs out there as well. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this, but I think at the end of the day, if your business is going to require some of the more major league Microsoft stuff, if you're comfortable in that environment, then Small Business Server is going to be a great way to get started, or getting those solutions as a hosted solution, such as Exchange hosted accounts. There's some ways you can save some money there. But if this is not as important to you, it's having a good, high-performing server that's easy to administer. You don't have to worry about licenses and all that stuff. Then the Apple Snow Leopard server may very well be a wonderful investment for your company. And so there we have it. That's certainly, I'm telling you, I think that you should explore that as an option. Of course, Linux is also a option as well, but bear in mind that that it's a little bit different cat, if you will, from the Windows or the Apple world. Listen, I'm Bruce Naylor, your Frugal Tech. We'll make sure to let you know that we're having a live drawing on June the 30th to win a Apple iPod Nano. It's the 4 GB model. Really, all you got to do to participate in the drawing is two things. One, hit the subscribe button to our YouTube videos. Number two, visit frugalbrothers.com. Click the link that says Frugal Tech Live, and join us in our live chat room between 1 and 3 p.m. on June the 30th. I'm Bruce Naylor, Frugal Tech. Remember, it's in your shop, not making you money or saving you money. Get it out of there. I'll talk to you later.